Hey guys, finally I can record something for the All Blacks versus the Wallabies. Boy, it's been a tough day or two with my computer breaking and stuff. This is still not my computer, so sorry if stuff is a little bit weird. But anyway, let's get into the game. It's going to be a pretty early game actually in New Zealand, 4 p.m. Eden Park, a game where, or a place where the New Zealanders are pretty strong. They don't lose there a lot. They haven't lost there since 94. So some of these All Blacks haven't even been born by then. So it's a pretty tough place to actually go beat them. The Wallabies, can they do that after getting a draw last week in Wellington? Who knows what's going to happen. Partly cloudy, 17 degrees Celsius, not too windy. Angus Gardner being the referee. I think he's probably one of the best referees in the Southern Hemisphere, so I'm happy with that. The refereeing last week, yeah, it wasn't the best, was it? But let's not get too much into that stuff. Looking at the teams, the New Zealanders made quite a few changes. I think, yeah, there's a couple of guys that didn't actually do too well for them. So the changes were rung for them. The Wallabies, why change a winning combination? They changed a couple of things. In the front row, both hookers were changed. I think for the Wallabies, most important, bringing in Vahinga Amosa is an important part because his line-out ability is also not as good as you would think of Falau Fahinga, but Falau Fahinga, he just messed up last week. I think he threw 3 in the first few throws that he had. He just threw off of the target. Then the lineouts for the Wallabies just never actually got to a point where they actually were dominant there. And Falau Fahinga, his place where he is actually stronger is at the back of the maul of the Brumbies. So don't know if that just didn't transpire with the Wallabies as well. Dane Cole's coming in as a little bit of a tough guy coming in for the All Blacks. That guy that stands out on the wing, can sprint around and score a couple of tries. You can almost guarantee that's going to happen somewhere in this game. So both front rows, I think, probably are a little bit improved with these changes. Not that Cody Taylor is bad whatsoever. They're like for like, but I don't think he really did much last week. In the front rows, though, Joe Moody, Tuongafase, they scrummed well. Tupou and Slipper, both of them scrummed well. The scrums were pretty even last week. It looked like the referee actually was just guessing around every time with a penalty. So, yeah, going into the second row, we have Matt Phillips, Salaka Lotto. They didn't do too well with the second row, but that's probably down to Falau Fahinga just not getting his balls in right. Tuipulotu and Vai is the combination for the New Zealanders. Vai, he made his debut last week. He's actually starting now ahead of Scott Barrett. So obviously there's stuff that they do see in him that he could actually go on and become a good All Black. Look, he is a good player. He's only 20 years old, so he has a bright future ahead of him. Ned Hannigan coming in at the number 6 at the expense of Samu. So Wilson moved to the number 8. Samu, I didn't think he played badly, but they did say the Wallabies just didn't do anything at the breakdown. They weren't dominant enough at the breakdown, and that's where a guy like Hannigan comes in. He also is very good at his lineouts, or he brings another threat at lineout time. So that's what the Wallabies might look to expose, to have a lot of jumpers in the air. Frizzell, he's also a jumper when it comes to lineout time. Sam Cane, he had a lot of tackles last week. You could just see what he does. He's just tackling all over the park. Adi Savea, I think he had quite a quiet game last week, but you don't get that twice in a row from him, so probably a busy week this week. Then Aaron Smith versus Nick White. Nick White outplayed Aaron Smith last week, but Aaron Smith was probably the best scrum half in the Aotearoa season, so he'll probably step it up again. Mahunga at number 10 versus James O'Connor. That battle was pretty even for me last week. I did watch a video where where Drew Mitchell said Beauden Barrett should still be at number 10. They do lose a little bit of an attacking edge there. Look, Mahunga is great at the Crusaders, but he probably has a bit of a point. Since in the last 18 months, the All Blacks have lost a bit of an attacking edge since Mahunga has moved there. I don't know. You can tell me what your opinion is there. I don't want to go too much into that point right now. Going into the centres, Goodhue versus Tumua. Tumua, he was physical last week. That second number 10 option for them just worked really well for them. Paisami, he played well last week as well. I thought before the week he might get exposed when it comes to defense, but he wasn't actually. He held his 40. Yeah, he did pretty well. Anton Leonard-Brown, he comes in at number 13, and that's the guy that just improves the defense for the All Blacks every time he does come on. probably better at number 12 for a lot of people. I like him at number 13 actually. He's a good defensive organizer when he is at number 13. They probably lose a little bit of attacking edge when he is there. But they have Beauden Barrett at the fullback, so they don't lose too much. Anton Linder-Brown does replace Rieko Ioane. I think that's pretty harsh. Rieko Ioane was probably one of the best players for the All Blacks last week. One of the only players that did anything. Yes, he did play a little bit of basketball with the try line or with the ball. He did step out, but that try was given. So yes, that stuff. But ignore that slight little things. He was the only guy actually getting anything right for their team. Then on the wingers, Caleb Clark gets a start along with Jordie Barrett. Caleb Clark, he's just a guy for the future. I know he's going to be a strong one. I saw a post on Twitter the other day that once the All Blacks decide to move Caleb Clark to number 13, all of us are screwed. I do think that's probably true. He's such a strong runner. He just runs over anyone. He just doesn't get a lot of balls in some games. Some games it's just quiet for him. Jordie Barrett, I don't think he played too well at number 14. He was quite quiet. Had a horrible day with the boot, but so did James O'Connor. It was very windy at Wellington. I think it was 37 kilometers per hour at a stage there, so you can't blame him. But I think Mohunga is going to kick this week, if I read correctly or kind of figured out things correctly from reports. Marika Kiribeti, Daugunu, they played really well last week. Daugunu, it looked like some of the New Zealand commentators never even heard of the guy. Now they know who he is. He just never gets tackled in the first tackle. He breaks a couple of tackles and then gets down. Steps really good. Tom Banks at number 15 versus Beauden Barrett. Beauden Barrett being back after that slight niggle last week. I thought Tom Banks did pretty well last week with just fielding the balls and kicking it back into the All Black territory. Then we go to the benches. Both benches are pretty strong. Cody Taylor at number 16. He will close out the game pretty well for them. Ulysses, the youngster, still, yes, he's getting more caps at number 16. Alex Hodgman at the prop for them coming on with Laulala. Both of them I thought were in form props in the Aotearoa season, so they deserve to be there and they will improve the team when they come on. Scott Sio, Alan Alalatoa, both of them as well for the Brumbies. They played exceptionally this season, so they'll do the same thing. Scott Barrett, he's back from his injury actually, so he'll be playing this week. I think Whitelock is injured if I remember correctly. Rob Simmons is also an experienced guy, so it's two experienced guys at the lock coming on for both teams. Then Liam Wright coming on at number 20. He replaces Valentini on the bench because they said he's more dangerous at defense and he's good at his line-out times as well, so that's what they want from him to close out the game. Hoskins Sotutu, we know what he can do in the domestic season. He didn't do too much last week. TJ Perenara versus Jake Gordon. Perenara was great this season. He didn't do too much last week. Rieko Ioane, he will want to make amends when he comes on because, I mean, I really think it's harsh that he was dropped after that. Jordan Pataya, the youngster, the prodigy that just never seems to actually be able to play because he's always injured. But when he does play, he's a brilliant player and he's going to do something when he comes on. I can almost guarantee that. Reece Hodge narrowly missed that kick last week. He almost got a win for the Wallabies in that game. And then Damian McKenzie, he's a guy that will probably slot in at fullback. Maybe number 10. I really doubt he'll go to number 10 though. Guys, it's a tough one to call. I don't think, honestly, that the Wallabies will be able to push the All Blacks that far again. I don't know. Not twice in a row. It's not like the All Blacks to play like that twice in a row. And it's Auckland as well. It's historically a fortress for the All Blacks. So I don't know. I think the All Blacks to win it by 12. But you never know. It's a new era for the Wallabies, a new era for the All Blacks as well. The Wallabies do look a lot better, I have to say that. It's just great to see the Wallabies being back on top again, being a strong team. Let's not get too carried away with that, but let's hope that continues. Let me know your prediction for the game down in the comments below, guys. Also, check out these videos next to me. Check out the Patreon page if you want to support the channel. And I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.